The first day I walked onto campus, I told myself I was there to become someone better. I had no idea I would meet the person who would become my entire world. I was standing outside the literature building when a girl rushed past me, dropped 3 books, and groaned. "Great. Perfect first day." I picked them up. "You dropped these." She looked at me and smiled. "You just saved my life." 3 books saved your life. On the first day? Absolutely. I'm Daniel. Lily. We walked inside together. "Which class?" she asked. "Literature." Her eyes widened. "Mine too. Sit with me." That simple invitation became the beginning of everything. Within weeks, Lily and I were together almost every day. We studied in the library, shared cheap coffee, argued about books, and laughed until people stared at us. "You know what I want?" she asked one evening. "What?" "To travel everywhere. Paris, Rome, Tokyo. I want to wake up somewhere new and know I earned that life." "I'll go with you." She laughed. "You always say yes to me. Because your ideas are good. You're too easy. Maybe I just trust you." She leaned against my shoulder. "That's why I love having you around." I heard the words and secretly turned them into something they were not. I started believing her comfort meant love. My brother Noah noticed before I did. "You're doing it again," he said one night. "Doing what?" "Building your whole life around one person." "She's my best friend." "You're in love with her." I smiled. "Maybe she feels the same." Noah shook his head. "Maybe, but don't lose yourself waiting for an answer." "I know what I'm doing." "No, you know what you hope is happening." I ignored him. For Lily, I canceled plans, stayed awake helping with assignments, and listened whenever she needed someone. When she wanted coffee, I brought it. When she felt lonely, I stayed. One afternoon she asked, "Why do you always help me?" "Because I want to." "You never say no." "I don't need a reason." She smiled. "You're the safest person I know." My heart jumped. "Maybe I'm more than your safe person," I said quietly. She laughed, not understanding. "You're ridiculous, Daniel." I swallowed my disappointment. In Professor Elena Brooks's literature class, I was rarely focused on the lecture when Lily sat beside me. Professor Brooks noticed. After class, she stopped me. "Daniel, do you have a minute?" "Sure." "You care deeply about people." I shrugged. "Is that bad?" "No, but you seem willing to disappear inside someone else's needs." I looked away. "I'm just helping a friend." "Then make sure you remain a friend to yourself." Her words stayed with me. Over the next few weeks, Professor Brooks became someone I could talk to without pretending everything was fine. "You seem tired," she said one afternoon. "I'm okay." "You always say that." "Maybe I'm convincing." "Not particularly." I laughed. She smiled. "You don't have to explain everything. Just don't lie to yourself." For the first time, I admitted what I feared. I think I love Lily. I suspected. And I think she might love me. "Has she told you?" "No." "Then protect your heart from assumptions." I nodded, though I still refused to believe her warning. One Friday afternoon, Lily ran toward me, practically glowing. "Daniel, I have amazing news." I stood. "What happened?" "I finally figured it out." "Figured what out?" "Who I want." My stomach tightened. She grabbed my hands. "There's this guy in our economics class. His name is Ethan. I can't stop thinking about him." I forced a smile. "Oh." "He's funny, confident, and completely impossible to read." "Sounds complicated." "It is. But I really like him." I nodded slowly. "So what do you want me to do?" Her smile grew wider. "I need your help." "My help?" "Yes. You know me better than anyone. You have to help me make Ethan fall for me." For a moment, I couldn't speak. She squeezed my hands. "Please, Daniel. If anyone can help me win his heart, it's you." I looked at the girl I couldn't stop loving and realized she had just asked me to help her love someone else. I wanted to tell her everything then. I wanted to say, "Choose me." Instead, I asked, "What makes you think he'll notice you?" "Because you're going to help me." She laughed. I looked down at our hands before pulling mine away. Okay, I said. I'll help. Really? Really? She hugged me so quickly that I almost forgot the pain. You're the best friend anyone could have. I closed my eyes for a second. Yeah, I whispered. Best friend. She ran ahead, already talking about Ethan, while I followed behind. Every step felt heavier than the last. I remembered Noah's warning. Don't lose yourself chasing one person. I finally understood what he meant, but I was not ready to let Lily go. Maybe helping her was the only way I could stay close. Maybe I was fooling myself again. Either way, I had already said yes. The first time Lily asked me for dating advice, I pretended it did not hurt. So, what should I wear? I looked up from my notebook. For coffee with Ryan. Yes, I want him to notice me. I forced a smile. Wear the blue dress. The blue one. You always look confident in it. She grinned. See, this is why I need you. I wanted to tell her I wish she needed me for something else. Instead, I said, just be yourself. That sounds boring. It works. For you, maybe. For you too. She laughed and ran toward the dorms to change. I stayed behind, staring at the empty doorway. I had promised to help her, so I did exactly that. Before every date, Lily called me. Should I text him first? Wait a little. How long? An hour. Why? Because if you answer instantly, you'll look nervous. I am nervous. I know. You make dating sound like an exam. Then study. She laughed. You're impossible. Go have fun. I became her secret coach, even when every piece of advice felt like another cut. Tell me honestly, Lily said before another date. Do you think Ryan actually likes me? He keeps agreeing to see you. That isn't an answer. It means he wants to spend time with you. What if I say something stupid? You will. She stared at me. I laughed. And he'll probably think it's cute. You're terrible. You asked for honesty. I did. And honestly, Lily, you don't need to impress him. Easy for you to say. Why? Because you never get nervous around anyone. I almost laughed. If you knew the truth, you'd stop saying that. What truth? Nothing. She narrowed her eyes. You're hiding something. Just go before you're late. She smiled. Wish me luck. Good luck. She hugged me. Don't leave until I come back. I won't. That became another habit. I waited for her after dates, listened to every detail, and answered every question. Did he kiss you? I asked once. She blushed. Maybe. Then it went well. It did. I smiled. She never noticed how hard that smile was becoming. I was becoming the person who celebrated every moment that pulled her father from me. And I hated myself for being proud. When Ryan ignored her messages, she came straight to me. He hasn't replied. Maybe he's busy. He saw my message. Then give him space. I hate waiting. I know. What if he doesn't like me? I looked at her and swallowed. Then he's making a mistake. She smiled weakly. You always know what to say. I almost answered. You're the only person I never know what to say to. Instead, I said, get some sleep. She leaned against me. Thank you for always being here. Those words should have comforted me. They didn't. One afternoon, Professor Brooks stopped me after class. Daniel, you seem distracted. I'm fine. You've said that before. I mean it. She studied me for a moment. Do you? I sighed. Lily is dating Ryan. Are you happy for her? Yes. That was not my question. I looked down. No. She pulled a notebook from her desk. Right. Write what? The truth. I don't know how. Start with one sentence. What sentence? I love her, and helping her hurts. I stared at the blank page. That sounds pathetic. No, it sounds honest. I wrote the sentence. Then another. And another. Professor Brooks never asked to read them. She only said, sometimes writing gives pain somewhere to go. I kept writing after that. At home, my mother noticed the difference too. You barely eat anymore. I'm busy. You barely talk. I'm tired. She touched my arm. Daniel, look at me. I did. Are you happy? I forced a smile. Of course. Don't lie to your mother. I'm not lying. You're disappearing. I looked away. I'm okay, Mom. She sighed. Promise me you'll remember that your life belongs to you too. I promise. I knew I was breaking that promise already. Weeks passed. Then one evening, Lily called. Daniel. What happened? Ryan asked me to be his girlfriend. I closed my eyes. That's great. You don't sound excited. I am excited. You helped me get here. I barely did anything. You did everything. I smiled even though my chest felt hollow. Then go enjoy it. She laughed. You're the best. The next morning, I saw them together on campus. Ryan held Lily's hand. She looked happier than I had ever seen her. I told myself that should be enough. Lily spotted me. Daniel. She pulled Ryan toward me. Come here. I want you to meet someone. Ryan smiled. Hey, man. Hey. Lily squeezed Ryan's hand. This is Daniel. Ryan nodded. The famous best friend. I laughed softly. I guess so. Lily smiled proudly. He's just my best friend. Just. That word stayed between us. I nodded. Yeah, I said. Just your best friend. Ryan looked at me for a second, then turned back to Lily. She leaned against him. I stood there smiling because I had promised myself I would never make her happiness about my pain. But as they walked away together, I finally understood how invisible love could make me feel. I had spent months helping Lily win someone else's heart. Now she had, and somehow, I was the one who felt like I had lost everything. Graduation was getting closer, but I felt farther from myself every day. I started writing at night because talking had become impossible. One evening, I opened my notebook and wrote, I love someone who will never love me back. I stared at the sentence. Pathetic, I whispered. Then I kept writing. I know she doesn't owe me anything. I know she chose someone else. I know I should be happy for her. So why does watching her smile beside Ryan feel like losing something I was never allowed to have? I stopped. My hand shook. I wrote again. I helped her choose him. I gave her advice. I listened when she cried. I celebrated when they became official. Every time I said I was happy, I lied a little. I closed my eyes. Maybe the worst part is that she still trusts me completely. I wrote until my chest felt lighter. The next morning, Professor Brooks noticed my notebook. You're writing a lot lately. I need somewhere to put my thoughts. That sounds healthier than keeping them inside. I don't think anyone should read them. I agree. I smiled. She pointed toward the page. Are you writing about literature? Not exactly. Then write carefully. I am. She nodded and returned to her desk. After class, I rushed out because Lily had asked me to meet her. I left my notebook behind without noticing. Professor Brooks found it a few minutes later. She picked it up. Daniel. She saw my name on the cover. For a moment, she simply held it. She noticed the notebook was open. Her eyes moved toward the first line. I love someone who will never love me back. She immediately looked away. This is private. She almost closed it, but another sentence caught her attention. I keep helping her because being needed feels better than being forgotten. Professor Brooks stood silently. She knew she should close the notebook. Instead, she read only enough to understand why I had been changing. She saw my loneliness. She saw how often I blamed myself. She saw that I had turned love into a reason to disappear. Then she closed the notebook. This boy is carrying far too much, she whispered. She placed it safely on her desk. When I returned the next morning, she called me over. You left something behind. My stomach dropped. My notebook. Yes. I took it quickly. Did you read it? She paused. I saw the first line before I realized what it was. I looked down. I'm sorry. You don't need to apologize. I didn't want anyone to see that. I understand. I held the notebook against my chest. Please don't think I'm weak. I don't. Then what do you think? I think you're young, hurt, and trying to survive something that feels bigger than you. I swallowed. It feels stupid. Pain isn't stupid. I should be over it. Who decided that? I did. Then you're being unfair to yourself. I looked at her. She continued quietly. Daniel, one person not choosing you does not mean your life has become smaller. I said nothing. You have dreams. I had dreams. You still do. I don't know anymore. Then give yourself time to remember. I nodded. Professor. Yes. Why do you care? Because I've watched you give everything to someone else while giving yourself nothing. Her words stayed with me. I walked out feeling embarrassed, but strangely lighter. That night, I opened my notebook again. I wrote one final sentence. Maybe loving Lily was real, but losing myself for her doesn't have to be. I closed the notebook. For the first time in months, I didn't cry. Graduation was only weeks away. Campus had begun changing around me. People talked about jobs, apartments, cities, and plans. Lily was excited too. Daniel, can you believe we're almost done? Not really. Ryan and I might move to the same city. That sounds exciting. What about you? I don't know. You'll figure it out. I smiled. Maybe. She hugged me. You're going to do something amazing. I wanted to believe her. Across campus, Professor Brooks watched her students prepare to leave. I didn't know my letter had changed the way she saw me. I only knew that college was ending, and everyone seemed ready for the next chapter. Everyone except me. I had spent years learning how to love Lily. Now I had to learn how to live without making her the center of my world. I found Noah outside the library. You look different, he said. Different how? Less broken. That's a strange compliment. It's the best one I have. I finally understand what you meant. About Lily. About losing myself. He nodded. So what will you do? I don't know yet. Good. Good. You don't need another person to tell you who to become. For once, I want to decide that myself. Noah looked at me. Then start there. I quietly looked at students carrying graduation gowns. For years, I imagined leaving college with Lily beside me. Now I imagined leaving with something else. My life. Graduation arrived faster than I expected. I stood in my cap and gown, looking across the crowd and wondering how 4 years had changed me. Noah found me near the entrance. You ready? As ready as I can be. You look nervous. I'm not nervous about graduating. Lily. I smiled faintly. Maybe. He followed my gaze. Lily stood beside Ryan, taking pictures while everyone celebrated. You don't have to watch them, Noah said. I know. Then don't. I looked away. I think I'm finally learning. Learning what? That I can care about someone without losing myself. Noah smiled. That's my brother. After the ceremony, Lily rushed toward me. Daniel. I turned. We did it. We did. She hugged me tightly. I'm going to miss this place. Me too. Promise we'll stay close. I hesitated for half a second. Of course. Ryan appeared behind her. Ready to go? Lily nodded. Daniel, this is Ryan. I laughed. I know Ryan. Ryan smiled. See you around, man. Yeah. Take care. They walked away together. I watched them leave, then turned toward Noah. You okay? Yeah. This time, I meant it. After graduation, I started working with Noah at his company. The job was difficult, but it gave me something I had not realized I needed, a life that did not revolve around Lily. One morning, Noah dropped a folder on my desk. You're working late again. I want to finish this. You've been here since 7. I'm almost done. He leaned against the desk. You know you're allowed to have a life. I smiled. I'm trying. You're getting better. I think so. Months passed. Lily and Ryan looked happy online. At least, that was what their pictures showed. They posted dinners, weekend trips, and smiling photographs. But rumors started spreading. Noah asked, Did you hear about Lily and Ryan? I don't want to know. Fair. What are people saying? That they argue constantly. I shrugged. That's their business. Noah smiled. You really have changed. I don't want her relationship to fail. You don't? No. I just don't want to be responsible for fixing it. That was the truth. One afternoon, my phone rang. Maya. Hi, Daniel. Everything okay? I wanted to ask how you're doing. I'm fine. Why? There was a pause. Professor Brooks asked about you. My heart skipped. She did. Yes. What did she ask? She wanted to know whether you were doing well after graduation. I smiled. I never expected that feeling to matter. You told her? I told her you're working and doing well. Thanks. Maya laughed. You sound surprised. I am. She remembers you. I looked down at my desk. So do I. Anyway, I just thought you'd want to know. I'm glad you called. After we hung up, I sat quietly. Professor Brooks remembered me. I wondered why that mattered so much. A few weeks later, the college invited former students to an alumni event. I decided to attend. I walked through the same courtyard where I had once waited for Lily. Then I heard a familiar voice. Daniel. I turned. Professor Brooks stood a few steps away. Elena. She smiled. It's good to see you. You too. She looked at me carefully. You seem different. I hope that's a good thing. It is. We walked together. How is work? Busy. Good, though. And life? I laughed. That's a bigger question. I know. I looked at her. I'm learning to enjoy it. She smiled. That sounds like progress. It is. We stopped near the library. I looked at the building. I used to spend hours here. I remember. Do you? Of course. Back then, I had always felt invisible beside Lily. Now, standing beside Elena, I felt completely seen. She asked, Are you still writing? Sometimes. About heartbreak? Not anymore. What do you write about? Things I understand now. She smiled. Such as boundaries, choices, starting over. I'm glad. I didn't understand any of that when I was here. Most people don't. I laughed. I thought love meant giving everything. And now? Now I think love should leave room for two people to remain themselves. She looked at me for a moment. That's a valuable lesson. I nodded. Our conversation felt different. She wasn't speaking to me like a professor speaking to a student. I wasn't speaking to her like someone asking for guidance. We were simply two adults talking. Before I left, she said, I'm glad you came. Me too. I smiled. Maybe we can talk again sometime. I'd like that. As I walked toward the parking lot, I felt lighter than I had in years. Then Olivia called. Daniel, are you at the alumni event? Yeah. Why? I saw you talking to Professor Brooks. We just talked. I know. Her voice became quieter. There's something I think you should know. About what? About Lily. My stomach tightened. What about her? Olivia hesitated. Lily hid something important from you. I stopped walking. What did she hide? I don't think I should tell you over the phone. Olivia, what is it? She sighed. You deserve to hear it. Just not from me. The call ended. I stared at the campus lights. 4 months, I had believed the worst part of my story was behind me. Now, suddenly, I wasn't so sure. I looked back at the literature building. I had spent years thinking I knew Lily. Maybe I never did. I thought graduation would make things easier. Instead, it made truth harder to ignore. One afternoon, Olivia found me outside the library. Daniel, can I tell you something? Sure. What happened? She looked nervous. It's about Lily. My stomach tightened. Is she okay? She's fine, but I think you deserve to know the truth. What truth? Olivia took a breath. Lily knew. Knew what? That you loved her. I stared at her. What? She knew from the beginning. My throat dried. How? She told me once. She said you were obvious. I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. Then why did she never say anything? Olivia looked away. Because she liked having you around. That doesn't answer my question. She needed someone dependable, someone who would listen, help, and always be there. I felt something inside me crack. So I was useful. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Olivia stepped closer. Daniel, she didn't want to hurt you. She knew I loved her. Yes. And she still asked me to help her get Ryan. Yes. I looked toward the library doors. All those conversations. She knew. The dates. She knew. Every time I stayed up listening to her cry. Olivia's voice softened. She knew. I shook my head. I thought she didn't understand. She understood more than you think. I sat on the steps. For years, I had blamed myself for misunderstanding Lily's kindness. Now I realized she had understood my feelings and simply decided they were convenient. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I promised her I wouldn't. I looked at Olivia. You kept that promise. I thought I was protecting her. And me? She had no answer. That silence hurt more than anything. Later that evening, I walked home alone. Every memory had changed shape. When Lily leaned against my shoulder, she knew. When she called me after Ryan ignored her, she knew. When she said I was the safest person she knew, she knew. I had never been imagining everything. I had simply been loving someone who knew exactly how much I cared and chose to keep me close anyway. Then Ryan's behavior began changing. Lily called me one night. Daniel, I don't understand him. What happened? He canceled again. Did he say why? He said something came up. Maybe give him some space. I already did. He barely calls anymore. I stayed quiet. Do you think he still loves me? I don't know. You're supposed to know these things. I can't read his mind. He only talks about himself now. That doesn't sound healthy. He says I'm too needy. I closed my eyes. Lily, you deserve someone who doesn't make you feel guilty for wanting attention. She was silent. Why are you still defending him? I asked. Because I love him. I swallowed. Then I hope he learns how to value that. After the call ended, I sat in silence. For once, I didn't wish Ryan would disappear. I only wished Lily would stop disappearing inside other people. Around that time, Professor Brooks and I began talking more often. One afternoon, she asked, "How are you really doing?" "Better." That's different from your usual answer. I think I'm finally tired of pretending. She smiled. That sounds like progress. I found out Lily knew. Professor Brooks's expression changed. Knew about your feelings? Yes. And she kept you close? Yes. She was quiet for a moment. That must have hurt. It did. What are you going to do with that pain? I don't know. You don't have to decide today. I smiled. Talking to you makes everything feel quieter. Then perhaps you're learning what peace feels like. I looked at her. I think I am. Our conversations became warmer, but never crossed the boundaries of teacher and student. She asked about my plans. I told her about my dreams. Sometimes we discussed books. Sometimes we discussed life. With her, I never felt like I had to earn my place. I didn't have to perform. I didn't have to rescue anyone. I could simply breathe. One evening, I said, I forgot what calm felt like. She smiled. Don't forget it again. I nodded. I won't. For the first time, I understood that love was not supposed to feel like constantly proving my worth. Then, just as I started rebuilding myself, someone knocked on my apartment door. I opened it. Lily stood outside. Her eyes were red. Daniel, can we talk? I froze. What are you doing here? I need you. Those words used to make me rush toward her. This time, I stayed where I was. About what? She looked down. About everything. I felt my heart beat faster. Lily, you should go home. Please. I studied her face. For the first time, I wasn't sure whether opening the door meant helping her or losing myself again. She whispered, I don't know who else to talk to. I took a slow breath. Then I stepped aside. Come in. She walked inside, and I knew whatever she was about to say would change everything. I let Lily into my apartment and closed the door behind her. Tell me what happened. She looked at me with swollen eyes. Ryan cheated on me. I stayed silent. How many times? I finally asked. More than once. My chest tightened, but I kept my voice calm. How long? Months. Lily. I found messages. Then I found pictures. Then I found out he had been seeing someone else while telling me I was the only person he wanted. I looked away. What did you do? I confronted him. And he blamed me. For what? For being too busy, too emotional, too demanding. He said I pushed him away. I shook my head. That wasn't your fault. She started crying. I know that now. I handed her a tissue. What happened after? He left. When? 3 days ago. I sat across from her. You came here because you needed somewhere to go. I came here because I finally understood. Understood what? That you were the person who actually cared about me. The words hit harder than I expected. You knew I cared. She lowered her head. Yes. And you knew I loved you. Yes. I closed my eyes. Then why did you keep me around? Because I was selfish. At least you're honest now. I was scared. Of what? Of losing you. I stared at her. You could have told me the truth. I know. You could have said, Daniel, I don't love you that way. I know. You could have let me leave. Her tears fell faster. I know. For years, I had imagined hearing her admit she wanted me. Now that moment had arrived, and it didn't feel like victory. It felt late. You're different, she whispered. I had to become different. I never thought you'd stop waiting for me. I never thought I would either. She wiped her face. Can you forgive me? I didn't answer immediately. The next day, I met Professor Brooks at a small cafe near campus. Our conversations had continued after graduation, always respectful, always careful. She noticed my expression. Something happened. Lily came to my apartment. Professor Brooks waited. She apologized. For what? For knowing I loved her and keeping me close anyway. That must have reopened old wounds. It did. What do you want to do? I don't know. She stirred her coffee. Then don't rush. I feel guilty for not taking her back. You don't owe reconciliation because you offer forgiveness. I looked at her. So I can forgive her without returning to her. Absolutely. That feels strange. Forgiveness releases you. Reconciliation requires trust. I nodded. I don't trust her yet. Then listen to that feeling. Her words gave me peace because she wasn't telling me what choice to make. She was reminding me that the choice belonged to me. Meanwhile, Ryan's carefully built image began collapsing. Dean Harrison called a professional investigation meeting on campus. I happened to be there because my name was connected to one of the projects Ryan had worked on. Dean Harrison stood before the committee. Ryan, we found serious problems in your submitted work. Ryan crossed his arms. What problems? Plagiarized sections, altered research records, false documentation. That can't be right. We verified every record. Ryan looked around. You're accusing me of cheating. Dean Harrison's voice remained calm. I'm presenting evidence. Ryan's face changed. I can explain. Then explain this. The dean placed documents on the table. Ryan went silent. I remembered how confidently he had spoken about his future. How easily everyone had believed him. Now the image he built was falling apart without me lifting a finger. Later, Noah called me. Did you hear what happened to Ryan? Yes. Are you satisfied? I thought about it. No. I didn't do anything. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. I laughed quietly. I don't want revenge anymore. Noah paused. Then you've changed. Maybe. What do you think happened? I think people eventually meet the consequences of what they choose. That evening, Lily came back to my apartment. She stood outside my door, nervous. Daniel. Yes. Can I ask you something? I opened the door but stayed beside it. What? She took a breath. I know I hurt you. Yes. I know saying sorry doesn't erase that. No. I know you don't trust me. I don't. She nodded. But I still have to ask. Her voice trembled. Can you give us another chance? I looked at her. Years ago, I would have said yes before she finished the question. Now I realized how much had changed. I need to think. She looked disappointed. Is there still a chance? I took a slow breath. I don't know. She nodded through her tears. For once, I wasn't choosing from fear of losing her. I was choosing from respect for myself. And that difference changed everything. She stepped closer. I can wait. I shook my head. Don't wait for a promise I haven't made. I understand. If we ever try again, it cannot be because you're lonely. Then why? Because we both choose it freely. She nodded. I wish I had understood that years ago. So do I. She turned toward the door. Daniel. Yeah. Thank you for finally choosing yourself. I watched her leave. I knew my future would exist with or without her. For once, I wasn't afraid of what came next at all. I knew what Lily wanted before she finished asking. Can we try again? I looked at her and felt the old version of myself fighting to answer. Lily, I forgive you. Her eyes filled with hope. But I can't go back. The hope disappeared. Why? Because I don't want my future built on everything that broke me. I can change. I believe you. Then why can't you give me another chance? Because forgiveness doesn't erase what happened. She looked down. I understand. I don't think you do. I spent years waiting for you to choose me. Now that you finally might, I don't know if I still want the life I once imagined. Tears rolled down her cheeks. So there's nothing I can do. You can respect my decision. She nodded slowly. I wish I had treated you differently. So do I. I really am sorry. I know. She hugged herself. I thought losing you would be the worst thing that could happen. And now I understand I lost you long before Ryan left me. I didn't know how to answer that. Take care of yourself, Lily. She looked at me one last time. You too. When she left, I stood behind the closed door and breathed until the ache settled. For the first time, I had chosen peace without feeling guilty. A few weeks later, Professor Brooks asked me to meet her after work. I need to tell you something, she said. I sat across from her. Is everything okay? Yes, but I've been carrying something for a long time. I waited. She folded her hands. After you graduated, I kept thinking about that letter. My heart stopped. The letter I left behind. Yes. I thought you only saw the first line. I did read more than that. I looked at her. She immediately continued. I struggled with whether I should have. I knew it was private. I should have closed the notebook immediately. Why didn't you? Because I saw your name, and I realized how much pain you were carrying. I read enough to understand. Then I stopped. I nodded. I was embarrassed when you told me. I never pitied you. I looked up. You didn't. No. I admired your honesty. Why? Because you kept loving someone even while knowing you were hurting. You cared deeply. You helped people. You kept moving forward. But eventually, you also learned to choose yourself. I was quiet. I thought you only saw me as a student. I did, while you were my student. And that boundary mattered to me. Her voice remained calm. I never wanted my feelings to interfere with your education or your choices. I swallowed. And now? Now you're no longer my student. Enough time has passed. I still don't want to rush anything, but I don't want to hide behind silence either. I stared at the table. What are you saying? I'm saying I never forgot your kindness. My heart beat faster. Professor. You don't have to call me that forever. I almost laughed. Elena. She smiled. Yes. I looked at her differently for the first time. You were there. I was nearby. While I was chasing Lily. Yes. While I was falling apart. Yes. Why didn't you say anything? Because you needed space to become yourself. I couldn't become your answer. Those words hit me harder than any confession. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. But I feel something. So do I. Silence settled between us. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was peaceful. I finally understood the difference. With Lily, I had spent years trying to earn love. With Elena, I didn't feel like I had to prove anything. I don't want to rush this, I said. Neither do I. I want to know you outside all the pain I've been carrying. I'd like that. Then maybe we start with coffee. She smiled. Coffee sounds good. Nothing complicated. Nothing forced. Just trust. Slowly. I nodded. For the first time, the future didn't scare me. I didn't know where our conversations would lead. I didn't know whether friendship would become something deeper. I only knew that I wasn't desperate anymore. I wasn't chasing. I wasn't begging. I wasn't trying to convince someone to see my worth. I was simply sitting across from someone who had seen me clearly. And somehow, that felt enough. As I walked home, I thought about everything I had mistaken for love. The sleepless nights. The constant waiting. The fear of being forgotten. The need to rescue someone so they would keep me close. I had believed love had to hurt to be real. Now I knew better. Real love could be quiet. It could be patient. It could give me room to breathe. It could make me feel safe instead of exhausted. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of a love that felt peaceful. I was ready to learn what that kind of love could become. I smiled as I reached my apartment. Phone buzzed. Elena had sent one message. Coffee tomorrow. I typed back. I'd like that. Then I put my phone down. For once, I wasn't waiting for someone to decide whether I was worth choosing. I had chosen myself. Maybe that was why this feeling didn't frighten me. It wasn't a storm. It was the morning after one. Months later, I barely recognized the person I had been in college. My life had become quieter. I worked, exercised, spent time with Noah, and stopped checking my phone whenever Lily disappeared. Noah asked, "Do you ever think about her?" Sometimes. Do you miss her? I miss who I thought she was. That's different. Very. Lily had changed too. She stopped calling me for emotional rescue. She found work, moved into her apartment, and began rebuilding her life without asking me to carry it. When she called, she said, "Daniel, I wanted to tell you something." "What?" "I'm doing okay." I smiled. "I'm glad. I've started therapy." "That sounds like a good step." "I'm learning to take responsibility for my choices." "I'm proud of you." She was quiet. "You really mean that?" "Yes." "Even after everything?" "Yes." "Forgiving you doesn't mean forgetting. It means I don't want anger controlling my life." "Thank you." "You don't need to thank me." "I think I do." We ended the call peacefully. Ryan's life had gone in the opposite direction. His academic dishonesty became known beyond campus, and the reputation he had built collapsed. People stopped trusting him. Opportunities disappeared. Noah told me about it one evening. Ryan lost another position. I heard. "You know what's strange?" "What?" "I thought you'd feel satisfied." "So did I." "And I don't." Noah smiled. "That's probably because you've moved on." "I think you're right." I no longer needed Ryan to suffer for me to heal. My own life was becoming something I wanted. Elena remained part of it. Our relationship grew slowly, exactly as we had promised. One evening, she asked, "Are you still afraid?" "Of what?" "Of trusting someone again." I thought for a moment. "Sometimes." "Then tell me when you are." "I will. And if you need space, I'll say so." She smiled. "That sounds healthy." "It's new for me." "New can be good." I laughed. "You make everything sound simple." "No. I just believe honesty makes complicated things easier." I looked at her. "You know what I like most?" "What?" "I never feel exhausted after talking to you." She smiled softly again. "I never want you to feel exhausted because of me." Months passed, and one Saturday, I drove back to my old college campus. I brought the same notebook. The cover was worn. The pages held the words I once wrote when I thought heartbreak would define my entire life. I sat beneath a tree near the literature building, the same building where Lily had once dropped her books, where Professor Brooks had first warned me not to disappear inside someone else's needs. I opened the notebook. The old letter was still there. "I love someone who will never love me back." I read it once, then I turned to a blank page. I wrote, I once believed losing Lily meant losing my future. I was wrong. I was not losing my future. I was losing the version of myself that begged to be chosen. I paused. Then I continued. Today, I don't need anyone to prove that I am worthy of love. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what peace feels like. My pen moved again. I hope I never confuse loneliness with love again. I hope I never sacrifice myself just to keep someone close. And I hope I remain brave enough to recognize love when it arrives quietly. I stopped writing. My phone buzzed. Elena had texted me. Are you still on campus? I smiled. Yes. Need company? I looked across the empty courtyard. Maybe. Coffee. I laughed. Always. A few minutes later, I saw her walking toward me. She stopped beside the tree. Writing. Something new. Can I ask what? I closed the notebook. Hope. She smiled. I like that. So do I. We started walking together. I looked back at the building one last time. I remembered the boy who had entered those doors believing love meant giving everything away. I wished I could tell him what I knew now. You don't have to beg. You don't have to chase. You don't have to become smaller for someone else. You only have to become honest enough to choose yourself. Elena looked at me. What are you thinking? That I finally understand something. What? The greatest victory wasn't making Lily regret losing me. She waited. It was learning that losing her didn't mean losing myself. She smiled. And what about love? I looked at her. Maybe love was waiting for me all along. Where? I don't think it was waiting in one specific place. Then where was it? I smiled. Somewhere I couldn't see because I was too busy chasing the person I wanted. Elena took my hand. I held it gently. For years, I had believed love had to be loud enough to chase. Now I understood. Sometimes love waits quietly. Sometimes it arrives after the heartbreak. Sometimes it finds us only after we stop begging to be chosen. And sometimes, the greatest love story begins the moment we finally choose ourselves.